Hello Star Seekers. This is Jeannie from Horoscope Forecasts 369. Whether you're an Aries or a Pisces, we're here to guide you. Let's cut through the cosmic noise and dive into today's horoscope predictions. Sunday, July 23, 2023. The astrology of today, all signs. The moon leaves Virgo and enters Libra at 1:55 a.m. Eastern Daylight Time, and the Libra moon brings kind, cooperative, and fair energy to the day. Chiron stations and turns retrograde and will remain retrograde until December 26th. This cycle is strong for introspection and assessing our mental and physical health programs/efforts. However, the station itself can be disorienting. Indecision is likely as we adjust to the shift. Mercury square to Uranus today can add abruptness and tension to our thinking patterns and conversations. Our senses are hyperstimulated. There can be sudden flashes of insight or fresh new ideas, but our plans may not come together well just yet. We may be impatient with routine matters or monotonous tasks. Disorganization or bluntness with our communications is likely. Information can surface now that upsets the status quo. Even so, this transit can also stimulate our minds, encouraging new ways of thinking. The moon is void from 12:06 a.m. Eastern Daylight Time, with the moon's last aspect before changing signs, a trine to Pluto, until the moon enters Libra at 1:55 a.m. Eastern Daylight Time. Today's Aries horoscope. The moon heads into your partnership sector today, dear Aries, and feedback allows you may see your life through the eyes of another. Also today, Chiron turns retrograde in your sign, and in the coming 5 months, the healing energy you've been radiating turns inward, making it a fine time for efforts to heal yourself. The shift this week, also coming just after Venus turned retrograde, can leave you feeling misunderstood or vulnerable in spots, but the cycle ahead is excellent for getting some relief. People have been seeking your good vibes, assistance, healing powers, and advice, and it's appropriate now to get in closer touch with your own issues. A break from doing things for others can help you do so. However, with a Mercury-Uranus square also active today, there can be some wild cards to manage, which can be fun, exciting, or disruptive, depending on the situation and your perspective. Watch for a tendency to worry or plan poorly due to nerves. Speaking too quickly on a matter can be a problem when you're tense. Today's Taurus horoscope. The moon enters your work and health sector early today, dear Taurus, shifting your focus to your daily affairs and duties. Taking care of the practical details of your life figures strongly. Also today, Chiron turns retrograde, and until December 26th, it's a powerful period for healing through understanding your past and your spiritual and emotional needs. This shift and yesterday's Venus shift can point to some disorientation, doubt, or insecurity, but it's temporary. Dreams and seeming coincidences this week can serve as clues as to what inner work needs special attention. Your outer schedule may not be very straightforward, but will be clearer once you've made some internal adjustments. The temptation can be to shut down a little on an emotional level, as you have been attracting a lot of people who seem to need your help, and it's time that you paid more attention to your own needs. A Mercury-Uranus aspect today can point to some temporary disconnects or a nervous disposition. There may be household tension and restlessness. Family affairs or the need to stick around the home can clash with personal plans and your sense of independence. Try not to overthink things, which is a strong tendency now. Today's Gemini horoscope. The moon moves into your sector of joy, dear Gemini, and you're in the mood to create, interact, and enjoy yourself now. Also today, Chiron turns retrograde, and existing problems, especially in your social life, might assume more importance in your mind. They can act as a trigger for further self-examination. For example, if you've been trying too hard to please others recently, you're more likely to recognize it and want to pull back. Now is the time to examine why you may feel the need to overcompensate. Alternatively, if you felt disconnected from your peers, an associate, or a particular friend, you're inclined to go a little deeper to find an answer. Doing more for others not only doesn't repair relationships, but can also take you further away from the heart of the problem. It's easier to see this in the months ahead while Chiron is retrograde until December 26th. A Mercury-Uranus transit today can be disorienting as it shakes up schedules and thought processes. Still, it can lead to interesting detours. There can be many ideas but little organization. Tension results from trying too hard to make order out of chaos. Watch for speaking too soon about a matter, and seek ways to center or ground yourself for the best results now. Today's Cancer horoscope. Chiron begins its 5-month retrograde cycle today, dear Cancer, and this shift may draw up doubts or insecurities about your current life path, performance, leadership skills, or career. Fears or vulnerabilities temporarily magnify, which leads to the need or desire to explore why. In the months ahead, you may get to the bottom of any overcompensating, procrastinating, or worrying in these areas of life. It's an excellent cycle for working with various healing techniques. You're likely to get in better touch with true needs and goals. Look for the moments of inspiration today, as there can be somewhat disorienting energy with you. A Mercury-Uranus square is also active and can create some chaos, but stirring things up might lead to exciting ideas. You could find that you're clashing with a friend about an idea or core value before you get to a greater understanding. Under these conditions, watch for communications that you fire off without thinking. It may be best to avoid doing things so quickly that you end up missing the mark. Observe and learn rather than jump into action. You need to remind yourself that good principles, common sense, and fairness should be at the heart of your plans, as these are qualities that make you feel the best about yourself. Today's Leo horoscope. It's important to consider that 2 important shifts of direction are occurring this week, dear Leo, and it's wise to wait for these to happen before making big moves. Yesterday, Venus turned retrograde, and Chiron does the same today. Chiron's yearly retrograde phase will last until December 26th and is powerful for re-examining beliefs and goals. You may question current studies or activities in terms of whether they represent you and your current beliefs or interests. This struggle is more internalized during the retrograde cycle as you examine what may need healing within yourself. A Mercury-Uranus square also influences the day, and it can point to unexpected reactions to your communications. There can be interruptions, nervous tension, or a change to your schedule to manage. These may be disruptive, but you might work with the energy and enjoy the element of surprise. If you're impatient with current topics, look for a new subject that interests you rather than stirring up problems. Today's Virgo horoscope. The moon heads into your resources sector today, dear Virgo, and you're most content with something familiar and predictable. Also today, Chiron begins its 5-month retrograde cycle, pointing to a shift in the ways you habitually deal with support, dependency, intimacy, power sharing, and finances. While you have a stronger ability to bring out the best in others, there can be times when you feel you're taking on the emotional burden and weight of others' problems a little too often. Chiron's retrograde gives you a little break from this and is also strong for examining why you may be overcompensating or avoiding your own issues in these areas of your life. This week, there can be something that triggers this inward journey. With a Mercury-Uranus square also in play today, something communicated can stir up tension or defensiveness. Consider whether it's better to correct errors or ignore them and move on. It's a day when sharp words and moves can result from impatience or misunderstandings. There can be changes in plans, unexpected results, or communications that interrupt the flow. However, something random or sudden may very well stimulate a new plan, insight, or perspective. Today's Libra horoscope. The moon heads into your sign for a couple of days, dear Libra, and the emotional needs you may have been putting aside are now a centerpiece. However, Chiron turns retrograde in the opposite sector of your chart today, and revelations now or this week signal a need for some healing or further examination regarding relationships. If you've been overcompensating or making too many sacrifices for others, you'll recognize the imbalance. In the months ahead, Chiron is retrograde until December 26th. You might get to the heart of any fears or damage that prevents you from doing more for yourself, which gets you on the road to healing. Once adjusted to Chiron's shift in direction, this retrograde cycle is powerful for learning about your relationship needs. Today's Mercury-Uranus square can put the pressure on, particularly on a mental level. Nervous energy can run high with this influence. The desire can be to break away from conventional methods, but you might stir up unnecessary tension if you do so too abruptly. Keep in mind that, with this transit, restlessness can lead to words or moves you want to take back. There might be ways to go your own way that cause less of a stir. Today's Scorpio horoscope. The moon heads into your privacy sector for a couple of days, dear Scorpio, drawing your attention to behind the scenes, background, and private matters. However, Chiron, currently transiting the opposite area of your solar chart, turns retrograde. If you've been overcompensating in health or work areas, you'll recognize the problem now, and you might examine why. Consider what about your daily routines, or your approach to them, leaves you feeling that you need to do more or be more effective. You might also have been very busy serving and helping others, and now events and revelations are such that you recognize the need to turn your helping and healing efforts towards your own needs. This retrograde lasts until December 26th. You might also try to resist overthinking things today. A Mercury-Uranus square is the culprit, as it can stir up some mental tension. The pace can be a little too quick, and you might feel out of step with the rest of the world temporarily. Flexibility is your best strategy, as allowing for the unexpected can help reduce the tension. Advice coming in today may not seem useful, but you don't have to agree with it to learn something from it. Disagreeing may jumpstart your own genius thinking on a matter. Today's Sagittarius horoscope. The moon heads into your social sector for a stay of over 2 days, dear Sagittarius, shifting your focus to your happiness goals. Also today, Chiron begins its yearly retrograde phase. In the 5+ months ahead, you're in a solid position to learn more deeply about your needs for self-expression, romance, or creative pursuits and the insecurities you may have along these lines. If you've been overcompensating, this is a time to see more clearly which fears are at the root of this behavior. Events today and this week can be catalysts for beginning the personal healing process. You may be holding back a little, as it's time to look within rather than serve others blindly without attending to your own needs. The day can also stir up new ways of thinking, but it's not the best time for easy decisions. Today's Mercury-Uranus square requires flexibility. You might need to adapt to a quicker pace or surprise elements and disorganization. It can be tense if you resist and dig in your heels. It may not be easy to get a word or thought in edgewise, but once past this, you might arrive at a new perspective on a project or interest. Today's Capricorn horoscope. Your responsibilities and performance are in stronger focus today and tomorrow, dear Capricorn, with the moon's move to the top of your solar chart. You're far more noticeable. However, Chiron is a longer-term guest in the opposite area of your solar chart and begins its retrograde phase today, lasting until December 26th. This yearly cycle is a good one for self-discovery and healing. If you've been working so hard to please loved ones or make your life secure that you feel drained and perhaps a little resentful, you'll begin to recognize the issue. There can be a need to draw much of that energy toward your own nurture and care. In the next several months, you're in a high position to examine and identify the roots of insecurities. There can be further issues with decision-making today, with a Mercury-Uranus square that can point to clashes of opinion or tension related to unreliability. Someone might hold on tightly to their ideas or methods, and it becomes a little too easy to disagree. Impatience can lead to moves or words you later want to take back. However, useful ideas might result from the mental detours you take today, and interesting conversations may also happen from a bit of chaos or disorder. Today's Aquarius horoscope. Chiron turns retrograde today, dear Aquarius, and this shift can temporarily magnify any insecurities you might feel about self-expression, learning, or connecting. Still, as you grow accustomed to the retrograde in the weeks and months ahead, you recognize the opportunities to get in better touch with what may be driving fears. This cycle can open your eyes to ways to repair and heal problem areas or do beneficial inner work. A Mercury-Uranus square also active today can produce mental stimulation that heads into tense territory. This aspect often brings an unexpected piece of news or result. Disorganized instructions or unnecessary distractions can frustrate you. Aim to enjoy the randomness of this energy rather than worrying too much about how things will resolve. Today's Pisces horoscope. The moon heads into your intimacy sector for over 2 days, dear Pisces, motivating a more vital need to look within or connect more deeply with a person or project. Also today, Chiron begins its 5-month retrograde cycle. This phase helps you gain a new perspective on your sense of self-worth and how this affects what you're attracting into your life, not only by way of income but also the emotional and spiritual benefits you deserve. Today and this week, events can be catalysts for this inner journey, introspection, and self-examination. With the shift occurring today and Venus having just turned retrograde yesterday, it's best to adopt a wait-and-see attitude until you feel more grounded. A Mercury-Uranus square is also active today, and it produces nervous energy. You'll be in good shape if you can tune into its somewhat random, eccentric theme and enjoy its surprise elements. Avoid overthinking things for best results, as you don't need to let mental tension drag you down. As we wrap up, I'm Jeannie thanking you for tuning in to Horoscope Forecasts 369. Remember, these are guides, but your will shapes your destiny. Like, share, subscribe for more astro insights, and let the stars guide you until we meet again. Take care.